Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, DG Tronic, and you are watching the summary of the WWDC Apple event of 2012. They announced many things. I'm gonna run through all this stuff very quickly and give you as much information as I can. The MacBook Air got updated. 3rd generation Ivy Bridge chip in it, up to Core i7 with the Intel HD Graphics 4000. Turbo Boost up to 3.2 GHz with 8 GB of RAM at 1600 MHz, 512 GB of SSD as an option, USB 3.0. It's a 13-inch screen with a Facetime HD camera of 720p resolution. No Retina displays. It ships today for 2 different configurations, $11.99 and $14.99. Depends on the configuration. The MacBook Pro got updated with the Ivy Bridge, USB 3.0 and 2.0, up to 2.7 GHz quad-core i7, turbo boost of up to 3.7 GHz, up to 8 GB of RAM, GeForce GT 650M graphics card in 13-inch and 15-inch screens. No Retina display for those MacBook Pros. However, a brand spanking new MacBook Pro was introduced, the hybrid between the MacBook Air and the current MacBook Pros. They call it the next generation MacBook Pro. It's very high end. It's almost as thin as the MacBook Air, non-tapered. It's 0.71 inches thick, weighs 4.46 pounds. It has a Retina display with a resolution of 2880 by 1800. That's 220 pixels per inch. It's a 15.4 inch screen. All of Apple's apps are getting updated for this laptop, and it ships with OS X Lion. It's a quad-core processor up to 2.7 GHz, up to 16 gigs of RAM. It has an HDMI. It has a GeForce GT 650M, 2 Thunderbolt ports, 2 USB 3.0 and 2.0 ports. It has a MagSafe 2 connector, no Ethernet jacks. It has a Bluetooth 4. It has an 802.11n Wi-Fi. It has a FaceTime HD camera, dual microphones, stereo speakers, and it costs $21.99 for the starting price with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabyte storage drive. And that new MacBook Pro, the next generation MacBook Pro, ships today. OS X Mountain Lion, they talked about it. It has over 200 new features. They talked about some of the new features. I'll give you the gist of it. It has iCloud support built in. Things like mail, contacts, calendar, all that stuff will get synced automatically. Messages and reminders and notes, they all sync up as well. And it has a new feature called Documents in the Cloud. They talked a lot about that. I'm not going to give you much details about that. You can look it up yourself. It has a new notification center. All your notifications from your apps, your messages, all that stuff goes into the notification center, which as you've seen screenshots of before, drops down on the side of your screen, on the right side of your screen. It pushes your laptop or your desktop screen to the left a little bit. There's a dictation option on the MacBook Pro. There's no Siri, but the dictation sounds like Siri. I guess you press down 2 buttons at the same time and you talk and it writes whatever you say, which is really cool. There's sharing options in Safari. There's a new Safari and unified smart search bar on Safari on the top. There's iCloud tabs syncing for Safari. So basically, if you have many Macs or a Mac and an iPod Touch or an iPad or an iPhone, all your tabs on your Safari, on your different Apple devices get synced up. And there's a new tab switching gesture. You know how on your iDevice you have many tabs open and you can visually scroll through them, like there's 8 of them open and you see what each one is? That's a new gesture in Mountain Lion. You can do that now. There's a new feature called Power Nap that only applies to the MacBook Air 2nd generation and the MacBook Pro with the Retina display. It's called Power Nap, and what it does is it keeps your Mac up to date even while it's sleeping. There's Game Center on Mountain Lion. You already know what Game Center is all about. I'm not going to give you any details. There's AirPlay from your Mac to any TV using the Apple TV. Mountain Lion is going to be shipping in July. They didn't say what specific date, but in July, and for the lower price of $19.99. That's even lower than Lion, which was $30. iOS 6, they talked about it. Again, 200 new features. Some of the features that they talked about were Siri was updated. There's a lot more information in Siri now, including ratings of places, reviews of places, and a lot more information on Siri. Siri can now launch apps. You tell it, run this app, and it opens up. Siri now, they've been working with different car manufacturers, with Toyota, GM, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Honda, Audi, and more. So you can use Siri from the steering wheel in your cars without getting distracted while you're driving. Siri goes international and goes to the iPad. They didn't mention anything about it coming to the iPod Touch, and they didn't say whether it's only for the new iPad or also the 2nd generation iPad. But they said it goes to the iPad. Facebook integration. There's a lot of Facebook integration in iOS 6. Tons of it. I'm not even going to bother you, with giving information. There's tons of Facebook integration. There's a do not disturb feature in iOS 6, where basically your iPhone or iPad won't light up the screen or make a sound when notifications come up in case you're sleeping or you're doing something you don't want to be distracted. And you can choose who you can receive calls from while you're on Do Not Disturb, or no calls at all. Now FaceTime, it used to be over Wi-Fi only. Now they've brought it to cellular. You can use FaceTime if there's no Wi-Fi, but if you're in a cellular area and you have an iPad that has cellular on it or an iPhone, you can FaceTime people now. That's awesome. Now your phone number and your Apple ID, this is kind of a iffy thing. Your phone number and your Apple ID are going to be unified, so when somebody calls your phone, you can answer the call using your Mac or your iPad. I'm assuming that's through FaceTime. That's kind of a cool feature, but also has a downside. You can't really ignore those annoying people that you don't want to answer the calls for. If your in-laws call, if your friend calls, you can't say to them, "Oh, my phone was dead, sorry," because they'll be like, "You have a Mac? Why didn't you answer the call, bitch? You have an iPad? Why didn't you answer the call, bitch?" There's a feature called Passbook. It's an app that basically combines all your passes to one place. I'll explain that to you. Like, you have apps for movie tickets, you have apps for plane tickets, you have apps for gift cards that you use. It basically combines all of those into one place on your phone, so you don't have to scramble through your phone and find your app if you're at Starbucks and you want to use the Starbucks gift card app to pay for something. Maps has been updated. It was one of the awesomest features on iOS 6. Maps now has these things called info cards about different places that give you more information about that specific place. Also, there's a big 3D button for a reason. Turn-by-turn directions from Maps now, and the voice that talks and tells you turn-by-turn directions is the Siri voice. It also shows you where traffic accidents are, and it has anonymous traffic data. And it works with Siri. It's integrated with Siri. There's a new feature in the Maps app. This is what the 3D is for. It's called Flyover. It's a 3D vector-based map of pretty much everywhere. And you can rotate the maps with your fingers, zoom in and zoom out with these beautiful, gorgeous 3D cities. Also, another feature, if you're standing somewhere with your iPhone or with your iPad that has cellular data, and you turn around to see where is where, the map also turns with you in real time, all in real time. It's really cool. There's also custom vibrations for alerts that they've added to iOS 6. Well, that's pretty much the gist of everything that they talked about at WWDC 2012 Apple event. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/DGtronic. Subscribe to this YouTube channel right here for all tech-related stuff at youtube.com/DGtronic. Leave me comments. And that's about it. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.